Yes, please. Whatever would you like to
Hudur, we were
ask me?
talking about the hadith of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and what is the stand of the Jama'ah Ahmadiyya with the relation to al hadith, and Hudur explained it. Now,
You see, I have
yes.
another thing to add regarding the terminology, religious terminology of the Quran, and their misunderstanding of this. The same terminology is used by Hadhrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, exactly verbatim. So if they insist on the literal meaning of those things to be realized in this real world, then why do they talk of Dajjal? Why are they so much, concerned with Dajjal? Why are they not concerned about themselves? आज जो दर्स में जो आयत कुरानी थी वो निकाले ना वो. I'll show you a verse from the Holy Qur'an, but the subject, let me first introduce you to the subject. The Holy Qur'an speaks of the Jews having gone so much astray and having earned the wrath of Allah so blatantly, with this total disregard to the fear of Allah, that at last what Allah did was, He said, Kunu qiradatan khasiin. Be the monkeys who were rejected and distorted, sent back in their one notch down in the evolution, stage of evolution. That sort of expression is used in the Arabic. Kunu qiradatan khasiin. Now these mullahs take this literally, and they believe that actually some Jews in a walled city became monkeys, and why the outside world did not know was the fact that the doors were locked and nobody was permitted by God to enter that city, and they remained there as monkeys and then died, all of them, leaving no trace of the monkeys which were turned from the erstwhile Jewish people. It's a very strange story, of course, more like the tale of jinns and giants and things, but what a clever device to avoid answerability. When you ask, where is the proof, where is the historic proof? The proof is that they were locked in, nobody survived. How can we provide a proof? But the Holy Qur'an says so, it has to be like this. But the Holy Qur'an says other things as well. The Holy Qur'an also speaks of their becoming monkeys and swines, pigs, and worse than that. So you should remember that this also should be taken literally. Maybe the swines which are to be killed by Masih Maud are these swines, you see, who were turned out of these people. So far so good, but the problem is that Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who knew the message of the Quran better than anybody else, predicted that this thing is going to be repeated in this ummah as well. He predicted that إِذَا كَانَ فَزَةٌ فِي ummatihi, what would happen during great faza? He said the people would be so worried, everything, the Muslims will be split and there will be chaos and everybody would be worried about what's to come. Then people would think that they should turn to their ulama and request them for some solution, to do something. What would they say? What would they see? Izahum qiradatam wa khanazir. Instead of finding ulama, respectable in all their robes, what they would see, the seats of the ulama are occupied by qiradatam wa khanazir. These are the exact wordings. As far as the verse, the first verse of the Holy Qur'an. Now let's find out whether this is literal or metaphorical, and when it would happen, if it has not happened so far. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله قل هل أنبئكم بشر من ذلك مثوبة عند الله من لعنه الله وغضب عليه وجعل منهم القردة والخنازير وعبد الطاغوت أولئك شر مكان وأضل عن سواء السبيل. The word shar, remember, this is very pivotal. The key lies in this word shar. In one of the prophecies of Hadhrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said that, I'll read you. جاء على الناس زمان لم يبقى من الإسلام إلا اسمه ولا يبقى من القرآن إلا رسمه مساجدهم آمرة وهي خراب من الهدى علماؤهم شر من تحت أديم. This is the shar, you know. شر من تحت أديم السماء منهم من عندهم تخرج الفتنة وفيهم طاغوت. See, this is a prophecy of God written in the Prophet Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But how could he make a prophecy without it having a root in the Holy Qur'an? So at another place he explains it. God had told him that his ummah would become like the ummah of Moses. Unfortunately, they would be divided into 72 sects like they got divided. They will be similar to each other, like one shoe of a pair is similar to the other. So this is the same subject which is built further. Now there Hazrat Rasulullah Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, Sharru man tahta adim as-sama. Here is the word shar used about a people who did earn the wrath of Allah. What happened to them? They become qiradatam wa khanasir. Did Rasulullah Sallam also say that about the future ulama? This is exactly what I have quoted.
Yes.
تكون في أمة فزاعة, as I mentioned, فيسير الناس إلى علمائهم فإذا هم قردة وخنازير. Kanzul Umar. There will be faza in this ummah, and people will turn to the ulama and they would be qiradatum wa khanazir. Now this qiradatum wa khanazir is found in this verse of the Holy Qur'an. So if anybody says that this is Kanzul Amal, is a weak book of hadith and we don't know whether it was right or wrong, but when the Quran supports it, when the Holy Qur'an explains the whole thing in a well organized, disciplined manner, the likeness of Ummah of Moses to the likeness of Ummah of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This likeness also is more deeply rooted than people think. It is not just rooted in one or two ahadith. The Holy Qur'an, speaking of Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, informs us, Kama arsala ila fir'auna rasula. Kama arsalna ila fir'auna rasula. Here is a prophet who is like Moses, who came to Pharaoh. So in his likeness he has come. And there we also read a prophecy in the Bible in Istisna 18:18 that God would raise, addressing Moses, God would raise a great prophet from among your brothers. This is the prophet who is Kama. So when both the prophets who founded the Ummahs are like them, so Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam rightly understood that ultimately the fate of my Ummah would be similar to that of the Ummah of Moses. How logical and organized this thinking is. But it's not his only logical conclusion. I'm 100% sure that he must have received special intimation from Allah that this is what was going to happen. So first you translate this, then I'll build the theme further and tell you what actually he meant and why he said that. Again, there is a key to the understanding in the last point. وَعَبَدَ الطَّاغُوتِ. When they had become khanazir, then they didn't start worshipping, they started worshipping as human beings. So that was not a literal transformation, but their spiritual deterioration and in fact distortion. About this fitna, it will emerge from them and return to them. The same surah from which I have quoted, the same surah which contains this verse about their being shar and you know, the worst people, speaks of the same thing exactly as Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has told us. وَإِذَا جَاءُوكُمْ قَالُوا آمَنَّا وَقَدْ دَخَلُوا بِالْكُفْرِ وَهُمْ قَدْ خَرَجُوا. They had come out of the kufr and they will return to the kufr.
And they said amanna.
Yeah, amanna. Wallahu a'lamu bima kanu yaktumun. Allah knows better what they hide. Yes.
Excuse me, Hadhrat, please.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Then what is the meaning of...
I'm coming to that, please.
I'm sorry, Hadhrat.
Now the question I raise here is all this literal? Do you really mean that what happened in the past was literal, and because Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has made a prophecy about the future with reference to this Quranic verse, then if it was literal in the past, it has to be literal in the future as well. So are these ulama expecting? Because so far it has not happened. But are they living in hope that one day this verse also will apply to them, and they will be actually turned into Qiradatam wa Khanazir? If not, why not? Word of the Quran, word of Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It's not an Ahmadiyya allegation at all. You can reject, of course. I'm talking of the word of the Quran and the word of Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And consistently he's speaking in one hadith, in another, of the same subject. So the point I'm raising is a very serious point which should be contemplated by the whole ummah. It's a very important matter of their life and death. Now what has happened to Islam by now? All the worst things which have happened, the ummah has been in fact enslaved by foreign powers, although nominally they are free, but actually they're under the thumb of great superpowers. First there were two superpowers, now a single superpower. But they bow to them. They know they have no independent authority, no independent existence. And as far as the Muslims are concerned, they're fighting each other everywhere. What is happening in Afghanistan, what happened in Iraq, vis-a-vis Kuwait and otherwise as well. What happened between Iran and Iraq. What's happening in Palestine. Look all around. There's so much misery in the world of Islam. And the people themselves, the common people, are running so fast away from Islamic values that they speak lies in their courts, they usurp other people's rights freely as if they're drinking their mother's milk. They don't care whatever may happen. And they shoot each other, they kill each other. What's happening in Karachi, in Lahore, everywhere in the world of Islam is so miserable. But the ulama say it is nothing as compared to what is yet to come. We are still ulama Rabbani. We are the God-fearing ulama. And you don't know what is in store for you in the next generation. What would happen in the next generation when ulama like these come? When in the presence of these ulama Rabbani, all this has happened already. What worse can you expect? Do you want to be dragged in your own streets by dogs as if this is not the ultimate of your disgrace that has come, that has been realized? Have fear of Allah. If these ulama are right, then what is to come to with the world of Islam tomorrow is the worst thing that can have happened to any people. And if they are right that literally these prophecies are to come true, then maybe one fine morning the Muslims get up in the hope of maybe Jesus has come from the heaven. Maybe that donkey is born. Instead of that, they see, you know, in the houses of the ulama, these monkeys, instead of donkeys, you know, monkeys. And these swines and things getting out. Imagine. Look at them and their brains. They are leading the Ummah Muhammad, unfortunately. Sharru man tahta adin as-salat. This is the meaning of that. Ask me what the meaning is, I can explain.
Yes, Hadhrat.
No problem.
Let me tell them
Yes,
this and then.
all right. Now before that, I tell them that about history they can say it happened actually, literally. But because they were walled and locked in by God, so nobody could see, there is no evidence of them as such in history. But I can't understand this, because the Holy Qur'an, when it speaks of the burial of the old townships of such people who earned the wrath of Allah, look at the townships of Lot and other prophets. They are mentioned in the Holy Qur'an, all of them. You travel and see, find for yourself. They're still buried there as a sign of Allah's wrath. Allah never mentions any township which, if we dig out, we'll find that instead of human beings, they're all buried monkeys or these swines, as I mentioned in this verse. No mention, nowhere. So that proves that they are wrong, the Holy Qur'an is right. The Holy Qur'an is using a parable, a metaphoric language. It should be understood as such. But anyway, they say all trace is lost. But this time, the Holy Prophet has made it very clear. Your trace will not be lost. When people see you, they'll see you with their own eyes.
It's a surprise. فَإِذَا هُمْ
Aha, madahum, as monkeys and swines. So that is why when I said it looks like joke, sounds like joke, but unfortunately this is a joke created by them, not by me. They it is who insist that these verses and these ahadith should be understood literally. So it's their own verdict I am quoting against them. So if they're right, then one fine morning this would happen. People will walk into the houses or their offices, and what would they see? Some swine sitting on the chairs, some monkeys sitting on the chairs, or walking out and spitting out and eating fodder or whatever they do. Unbelievable. Don't they understand that they are themselves hitting back at themselves? What is the meaning then? Obviously, no, I can understand. There is no doubt about my mind. You know, according to this evolutionists, monkey or monkey-like apes, you know, belong to a species to which life reached through evolution before the creation of man. So when man was created at last, monkeys were the lower stage in evolution, and they were abandoned as anything worthy. So when Allah, the Holy Qur'an says, Kunu qiradatan khasin, it means your behavior, your style of life is already less than human beings, less than that of human beings. You must return to a notch lower in evolution. Return to the early stage of life when you were here on earth just like monkeys and there were no human beings. So this is your lot because of your behavior, your conduct. This has to be the meaning of this verse, and what that behavior is, I'll explain after the translation, please. Now I'll explain the meaning of qirada. Why qirada? You see, of all the animals, it is only the monkeys who habitually imitate man. They have that in them. Many stories are built the stories are told all over the world where, you throw something at the monkey and he will throw something at you. We were told that once somebody was passing through a jungle and the fruit was very high on the trees. He couldn't get the fruit. So he thought, let me throw some stones on the monkeys sitting over there, at the monkeys. And because they don't have any stones, they will pick the fruit and throw at me. This is exactly what they did. And in our country, of course, I don't know whether it happens in the Arab countries or not, many monkey mongers move along, they show the monkeys and earn their living out of just the tricks they show the people, which they have taught the monkeys. And the tricks, what they are? They behave exactly like men. They say, all right, I'm going to marry this gentleman with this lady. And there is a lady monkey and a man monkey. And the man monkey inquired are you ready? He said, yes, I'm ready. They asked the lady monkey, are you ready? She said, no, I don't like it. Just like a shy girl. And then they repeatedly pay visits to her, say, please, all right, she says. Then get dressed up. And the male monkey dresses up like a bridegroom. And the female monkey dresses up like a female. And then they do doogie, this sort of music they play. And the monkeys go to get the wife, the bride, and she comes running along, wearing smart skirts and things. They behave exactly like human beings. It's surprising how similar they are in their behavior, in their pattern. Yet they're not human beings. That's the point. No other animal does this. You can't train. Of course, lions are trainable, but they can't be trained to imitate man. No other animal is trained to imitate man but the monkeys. So what a beautiful and wise thing to say, that ulama would imitate to be pious people, God-fearing people, those who love God. And out of love of God, they also love mankind, Allah's creation. But they'll only be in dress, in form, in shape, but they will not be real God-fearing people. There will be no real knowledge of Allah in their hearts. So what a beautiful simile which has been said by the Holy Qur'an. It's not an abuse, it's not an invective at all. Please. About Khanazir. We should also understand what is the similarity, how can they be like them. There is one thing which I can't explain, but I can refer you to the people of Lot. The people of Lot were a rotten people who started misbehaving in a manner that God ultimately decided to destroy them all of them, to be buried in their own township. This is a habit of the pigs and the swines which is outstanding as compared to the other animals. And anyone who knows things about the habits of pigs, he would tell you this is exactly where they stand out in the other animal kingdom for this particular bad habit. But that could not be the only thing. There are other habits. Some of them I came across, witnessed them myself, because I am a farmer by profession. Whenever we sowed seed and buried it properly and finished the whole field, having done everything which was necessary for sowing the seed, the next morning sometimes I would visit the same field, and I would see that the swines went plowing themselves again, and they destroyed everything that was sowed. The male swines are provided with, these long swords-like things. They call their swords. And they also start plowing just for the fun of destruction. They're not a creative animal. They're a destructive animal. There is one quality of the swines which should be remembered in mind. And the other is that I came across again through this farming. You know, when I found that they eat less, whenever, not only this, I mean in this way, but when there is a crop, standing crop, they eat a little of it, of course, but they destroy far more than they eat. So I inquired from the Department of Agriculture. I knew some very high, some officials, highly placed officials. I said, do you have any answer to this? How can we destroy these pigs? They told me that the recent technology developed by the Americans is that they inject a diseased serum, a serum of disease, into the small pigs which they catch somehow. And they die of that disease within a few days. And it's a highly contagious disease. And they told me for the first time that this swine or the pig is a strange animal. Normally it is vegetarian, it eats vegetation. But when some of them dies, they eat their flesh. You see, when the lions die, they don't eat the flesh of the lion. When the tigers die or the wolves die, they don't eat them. When the dogs die, they don't eat their flesh. But this is one animal which eats the flesh of its own kith and kin. So they say they do it, and then the whole colony of the swines gets infected and they keep on dying. So then I realized, oh, now I understand the meaning of the verse of the Holy Qur'an which speaks of ulama like swines. They must have these three habits. The first I don't know much about, but the Holy Qur'an has to be right. And the Holy Prophet has to be right. About the other two, we know, all of us are witness that they are right. They are found, these habits, in these people. They destroy the garden of Muhammad Rasulullah Sallam, the Ummah, far more than they genuinely require for their own survival. They don't add to Islam. They're not a productive animal. Because all over the world, it is Christianity which is eating of Islam, and other faiths which are making inroads into Islam. What are they doing? First of all, they are destroying whatever is left of Islam within Islam by declaring that is kafir, that is kafir, that is kafir, that is outside the pale of Islam. Very little of Ummah is left behind. And what is left behind is turned out of Islam by other ulama. No Islam is practically left. And literally then, only in one case we can say literally then, the prophecy of Hazrat Rasulullah that La yabqa min al-Islam illa ism. Each alim throws all the other Muslims out of Islam, so the garden of Muhammad Rasulullah, the fields of Muhammad Rasulullah are destroyed by these animals. And they eat up each other. They fight with each other and let people fight with each other, Muslims. So all their jihad is internal jihad. Why don't they take up sword against America, against Germany, against England, against other countries of the world? Their jihad, they blame us for rejecting jihad. While we are taking the cudgel for Islam, taking up the cudgel of Islam and fighting the cause of Islam everywhere. What is their jihad? Fight within themselves. Muslim fighting Muslims in the name of jihad in Afghanistan. Muslim fighting Muslims in the name of jihad in Palestine. Turn your glance anywhere in the world and this is a tragic, unfortunate situation you will find. So they tell me it's only 1 minute left. So shall we finish it or okay? Please do it. Okay. I think we'll have 1, 2, 3 more minutes, please.